Hi, everyone, and welcome to our webinar, How to Elevate Your Customer Experience with Proactive Outbound, brought to you by Regal.io. My name is Ina Bosenko. I am the head of demand generation here at Regal. And before we dive into the topic, here's a quick snapshot of what we'll cover today. A little about Regal, who we are and what we do, an overview of consequences that brands who don't prioritize personalization face in today's competitive market, ways to craft exceptional personalized outbound, a breakdown of 3 actionable customer stories from challenge to solution to results, and a detailed step-by-step showcase of exactly how you can elevate your customer experiences today. Our speakers today are co-founders of Regal.io, Alex Levin, co-founder and CEO, and Rebecca Green, co-founder and CTO. So without further delay, let's dive into the webinar.
Hi, my name's Alex Levin, and I'm the co-founder and CEO of Regal.io. So I'm excited to be here with you today. To start, I just want to tell you a little bit about myself, and then I'll introduce Regal and we'll get going. My background is mostly in product marketing and product management, and then eventually, in running sort of larger business teams. And at the last company, I actually ran a very large contact center organization, and so have definitely lived this firsthand. Based on our experience at the last company, where we were doing a lot of outreach to customers and trying to get them to engage with us, we realized the shortcomings of the contact center software that we typically use for customer service. And that's really what drove us to start Regal. So Regal focuses on working with outbound contact center teams and B2C sales teams that are looking to engage and drive revenue from customers. And on average, we drive over 25% of incremental revenue for them. We work with teams from 20 agents up to thousands of agents, and have the certifications and the requirements necessary to work with very complicated customers. And of course, like everybody, we've built a lot of AI into our tool that has allowed us to continue to drive costs down for our customers and drive new novel experiences for the end users. We work with teams mostly across insurance, healthcare, lending, fintech, education, local services like SoFi, Roman, Angie, and AAA. Today, we want to focus on how you can improve customer experience by doing more proactive outreach, and talking about how you should be doing that proactive outreach. At a very base level, customers are no longer okay with you treating them like you don't want to talk to them. The old playbook of deflecting customer inbound and ignoring customers and trying to drive service costs down results in less revenue and results in worse outcomes for the business and for the customer. The really novel brands online are investing in the customer experience, still in an efficient way, but they're continuing to invest in doing more to actually engage the customer in a conversation in the right moment. And a big part of that is that you need to be personalizing who you're reaching out to, what the message is, when you're reaching out to them, to make sure it's the right moment to engage the customer. If you're not, you're either trying to engage them at the wrong time, which is making the customer unhappy, or trying to engage them in a time where it's costing you money and not driving any incremental revenue. Let's start with a few studies. So customers expect personalization. They expect if they say something to you that you remember, if they do something on your site, that you use that to tailor the experience to them. They no longer want to be treated the same as everybody else. And every business, or most businesses, are starting to think about how do we increase our investment in personalization. Primarily, you see this in marketing teams, and I think the first place people think of optimizing personalization is in marketing, but it has to go through the full service experience. Or if the customer services teams, if the outbound sales teams are not personalizing what they're doing, everything still falls flat. And the last point is that customers get annoyed, they get frustrated if you don't personalize things. So if they tell you they're looking for an SUV and you keep showing them sedans, they get annoyed. So it's not enough to sort of use the fact that they clicked on something. Even if they tell you in a conversation with your agent that they're interested in something specific, they expect you to remember that and use that other places. And many organizations right now don't have the ability to use what happens on their website to drive personalization, and definitely don't have the ability to use what actually happened in a call to drive personalization downstream. So, what I talk about sometimes is a 2x2 matrix, where you think about on one side, how personalized your experience is to the customer, and on the other side, what your scale is at. Small businesses in America are on the low end of scale and are on the high end of personalization. So when you go into a little business, they may know everything about you, about your kids, about your pets, and you love that experience. It's part of why you work with a small business. Often what's happened is that very large businesses, well, they serve more customers, they're more scale, they treat everybody the same because that's what's their capability today. That's what their technology and their data processes today enable them to do. What we're suggesting is that every business at huge scale still needs to offer personalization. And it's hard, and we understand that it's difficult, but by using technology and better data processes to deliver that personalization at scale, you will have higher customer engagement, higher answer rates, higher conversion to the actions you want the customer to take, resulting in higher customer LTV, or in industries like healthcare, higher, better customer outcomes. So let's talk about two of the sort of key pieces that every brand should be thinking about today. First, how do you use real-time customer behavior to orchestrate, timely personalized outreach so you're not doing it the wrong time for you or the customer? And two, how you make sure that throughout all of this outreach that it's branded and consistent and not something that customers see as spam. So to the first point, a lot of brands today will capture phone number as customers come in so that they can text them, they can call them. But what they're not doing is they're not capturing the behaviors that customers are taking on their site. They're not capturing what products the customer is interested in. They're not capturing what the customer is saying when they are talking with them. What that means is that when you do reach out to that customer, there's no way to personalize. There's no way to know that they want one thing and another customer wants something different. And that limits you. We often call this new strategy an event-based or an event-driven approach to outreach. So the old way of reaching customers was typically called batch and send. So every customer that came in, you took their phone number and you put it in the new customer list. Or every person that was interested in a particular topic, you put in the topic one list. And then you would put that list in your dialer and dial through the numbers. That results in a situation where you're always calling people at the wrong time. You're never treating them like individuals. By using an event-based approach and actually personalizing the outreach to each individual based on the actions they're taking, result in a much more customized outreach. So my best metaphor, if you will forgive me, is Goosebumps Choose Your Own Adventure. So depending on the things that the customers choose, the experience that they get is different, resulting in a situation where they feel like the brand actually customized the experience for them. That's what results in higher answer rate, higher conversions, more revenue. So second, when you're doing outreach, traditionally, people are using mostly calls. Now, a lot of contact centers are using SMS as well, and I hope you are as well. But it was coming from an unknown number. And even worse, often the call was coming from one number, the automated SMS was coming from a second number, and any manual one-on-one SMS is coming from a third. So customers were really confused. I sort of experienced this myself at Angie, where we would have customers would tell us they wanted a call about a specific project. We would call them and text them, and they wouldn't answer either, and then complain that we hadn't reached out to them. So customers don't like this disparate experience with multiple numbers and different channels, and it's unbranded. So on average in the United States, people say there's about a 10% answer rate for unknown numbers. I have many businesses that I know where they're actually even lower than that. So what we expect is today a branded call, right? When you're going to a company and you're interacting with their product and you're on your cell phone the majority of the time when you're doing that today, and they call you, you want it to say their name. And so that's a new expectation among customers. And you want to make sure that every time they text you, every time they call you, it all comes from the same number. So you can text back the number that called you, you can call back the number that texts you. It's a unified experience for that customer. So it's not like they're talking with three different teams from three different numbers. There's even now, an expectation that if possible, you want to talk to the same agent, which I know seems crazy from running a contact center, but makes a lot of sense when you're a customer. So I'm not saying you can do it every time, but where there's the ability to either connect them with the same person, even if it's a different channel, or make sure that the person that they connect with knows the history of what happened in the other channels, obviously drives much better outcomes. So today I'm going to walk through three actionable customer stories to talk a little bit about the challenges they had and how they solved them. First up, I want to talk about some of the automated personalization and event-driven outreach that Angie put in place using Regal. So they were launching a new program to allow them to give customers a concierge, and they called this program Angie Key. So what they wanted to do is offer their best customers across Angie's List and Home Advisor and all their brands the opportunity to have an individual who's going to help them. And they wanted to see if that would drive higher utilization of the services throughout the home, whether that be cleaning, handyman, fence installation, or a remodel. The challenge was that they didn't have an easy way of doing this outreach at scale that both was event driven, meaning was reaching the right people in the right moment, and was very on brand and consistent. So we used our automation, our journey builder, to allow event driven outreach and make sure that the customer is getting the right messages in the right channel at the right moment. Ultimately, their agents would then sit in Regal and use us to actually talk with the customer and engage on the right channel to drive to the outcome they wanted. So we saw a 50% increase in booking requests per customer, per member, which is really amazing. And obviously an increase in answer rate on SMS and phone as well. So I'll hand it over to Rebecca, who's going to talk a little bit about how to build this within Regal. And, she'll give some examples in our actual journey builder.
Hi, I'm Rebecca Green, co-founder and CTO of Regal. And in this video, I'm going to introduce you to the Journey Builder. So the Journey Builder is the primary way for you to proactively engage your prospects and customers based on their individual behaviors across the customer lifecycle to drive more personalized customer experiences, more conversations, better customer outcomes, and more revenue. When I say journeys can be used to personalize based on individuals' behaviors, that can be actions that users are taking across your website or your app in email or other digital touchpoints, as well as data points you capture about users through calls or SMS conversations in Regal. So here I'm going to walk you through an example of a Regal account for a home services company. You can create journeys at key moments to drive conversion, retention, or win back. You can see an example of a new service request journey that's focused on conversion. I'll walk through that journey in a minute. You can see that there's also retention journeys. So if someone were to skip their lawn mowing booking 3 times in a row, you can reach out to them because they might be at risk. And your goal is to retain them and make sure they're still a good customer. There's an upsell journey where if someone rates a service highly, you can reach out to them with a text and see if they want to book another service. So let's go ahead and walk through the acquisition journey, which is for a new service request. So the goal of this journey is the second somebody on your site goes ahead and puts a new service request into the form, you want to reach out to them as quickly as possible, get them in a conversation, understand what their service needs are, provide an elevated quality of service, and get them to actually convert. And speed is important here too, because they've likely gone ahead and put service requests in across other competitors as well. So what this journey is doing is it's triggered off of that lead created event or whatever the submission event would be for your business. It's going to send a subscribe and welcome campaign SMS, and I'll show you what that looks like. It's going to wait a couple of seconds. Then it's going to create a call for one of your agents to place to the customer. And after that call, it's going to head and wait a couple of days, check if the customer ever converted. And if not, it's going to offer, a test to them, or it's going to offer an A/B test, right, of different SMS campaigns. So for maybe some, it's going to be an aggressive offer, for others, a moderate offer, and for some, no offer at all. And then you can go and assess which campaign was most successful. So let's go ahead and take a look at what each of these campaigns look like. So this is the SMS campaign we're sending. Effectively, it's welcoming the customer and using information about the service request that they put in to your site to personalize the text message. So for example, this is my phone number. If I were to click preview, you now see it's talking about my name and it's talking about the specific service that I have filled out on a recent form. If I go ahead and say, well, what about that call? What does that look like? So here, the call campaign is more about information that will be seen by your agents when they place the call, but there is some information that'll be customer facing. So we'll talk about this later, but Regal goes ahead and brands your calls with your brand name, the dialing method that the agent will use, and then you can see other information that gives a sense to the agent of, what offer they can use if necessary, what script they can reference, and what they should do in the event of a voicemail. So now I'm going to go ahead and trigger that journey by filling out a form on a sample website. that's connected to that account. So I'm going to fill out my information as if this was your website and put my phone number in. And what we'd expect to happen is that journey that we just took a look at is going to be triggered. And you'll see the text message come to me, and you'll also see a phone call get created. So I could keep going, or I could go ahead and abandon this flow. So I'm going to go ahead and abandon and go back to the Regal app. So this is quickly going to show you the agent experience briefly. So here you can see I received this text message, and I also am now, as an agent, ready to go place this call if I accept it, and it'll place a call out to the customer. So that's just a short example to show you how journeys let you orchestrate outreach to your customers across multiple channels and touch points, A/B test different messaging, copy, timing of outreach, maybe call scripts, so you can create highly personalized experiences for each of your prospects and customers, letting you automate, scale, and personalize one-to-one conversations to drive better customer outcomes and more revenue.
Thank you, Rebecca. Next, I want to talk about, personalized, timely outreach. And in this case, I'm going to use SoFi as the example. So SoFi obviously does a lot of student loan refinancing, and customers were coming in and trying to get their loan refinanced, but they often weren't able to do it only online. So SoFi started a team that was calling them. But what was happening is that they were building a list of all those customers, and it took at least a day to get that list to the sales team to actually reach out to the customer. And it was because the technology systems they had didn't allow them to call in real time, didn't allow them to call the right person with the right message again. So what we were able to do is hook up all of the marketing systems to their phone systems to allow real-time outreach based on the troubles customers were having online, so that a customer that was getting stuck online was getting a call in that moment, so they knew exactly that SoFi was there to help them. We saw a 21% increase in the average face value of the loan, meaning that doing this personalized outreach actually drove better customers, higher lifetime value, than a system that was not really speed to lead, and then a system that was treating everybody the same. So, Rebecca in this case is going to show a little bit of our, unified agent desktop to demonstrate, what happens when you trigger these real-time calls, how the agents are able to actually see what's happening in the customer's history, help that customer in real time, and drive them to a better outcome.
In this video, I'm going to show you the Regal Unified Agent Desktop. The agent desktop is where your agents, or you might call them sales reps or enrollment specialists, whatever are the teams that are on the front line engaging in conversations with your prospects and customers. This is where they can get all of the context they need to have great informed conversations with users at the right time over any channel. So I'll show you an example of a brand that is, let's call it in healthcare. And this is what the user experience is going to be like. Let's assume a user comes to your site and they're looking for 24/7 personalized online healthcare. And they start the process and they start filling out a form on your site. Now imagine I filled out this form and I started the process to become a member. If this is a journey or an outreach strategy that's set up, it will trigger off of me filling out that form, send a welcome SMS, wait a little bit, and then create a call. The SMS will be automated and will go to the customer, but the call is going to be something that appears on the agent desktop. So now I'll take you to the agent desktop so you can see what it feels like for your agents. Here, I'm going to put myself to available as an agent, and immediately I'm going to get this call based on the customer who just filled out that form. So I see here as the agent my list of tasks. I already had one conversation that was in progress over SMS, and now I have a new call task that I should take. Before I show you how to place a call, I'll show you what's on the left. In addition to my task list, I also can see a list of my contacts, and I can create any custom contact list I want based on any conditions. That way I can always stay in touch with the contacts that I need. In the middle, you can see it's the conversation history of the contact that I'm clicked onto. You can see the text that just went out, if the customer already responded, here's an inbound call that I missed. And soon I'll show you how I can either send an SMS, or if I want, I can also send an email. Before I accept the call, I'll also show you that I can schedule follow-ups if I need to. So while I'm on the call, if the customer says now's not a good time, I could go ahead and create a scheduled callback, and that will create a callback task at the exact time that I scheduled it for. Finally, I can also see all of the CRM information about this customer so that I know exactly what scenario they're in, and I can have an informed conversation. So I'll go ahead now and accept the call. I could have canceled it or snoozed it, but I'll accept it. Now it's placing a call from Regal. I'm on the call now, but it's on mute so that we can continue. At the same time, as an agent, as I'm on a call, I can also write a message. Here's the information that you asked for. And let's say I were to send a link along as well. I can use emojis. I can also include attachments in my conversation. Now I'll show you what you can actually do on a call. You could transfer if you needed to internally to another team or externally. You could put the customer on hold if needed. We're already recording the call, but you could stop that. And if you were to have made an outbound call and received an IVR, you can also respond to that. Now that this conversation is over, I'm going to go ahead and hang it up. Finally, the next important thing is that I can also put information about that call into the system so that the CRM information is complete and journeys can continue to use this information to decide what to do next in the customer's lifecycle. So now I can go ahead and leave a disposition and tell the system what happened. So I'll go here and say that the customer was interested, but I didn't schedule a callback, and they really, need to talk to their spouse or roommate to make a decision. I could also leave my custom notes here if I wanted about what happened on the call. And now I'll complete the conversation so that I can move on to the next one in my list. As you can see, the Unified Agent Desktop provides a single place for your agents to efficiently engage with your users in omni-channel conversations, armed with a single view of a user's conversation history and CRM information, all without having to leave the Regal app.
Thank you, Rebecca. So this time I want to talk about a branded experience, an on-brand experience for AAA. So AAA obviously is one of the most recognized brands in America, and it's a fantastic, fantastic company. But every year they've seen their answer rates decline. Phone is super important to their business because these are customers that are in trouble. So whether it's a new customer looking to get their services or a customer on roadsides, with an issue with their car, they want to be able to connect with their customer. And customers sometimes are being disappointed because even though AAA was calling more and more and more, the customer wasn't answering. So that was driving higher labor costs for AAA and worse experiences for the customer. So in this case, we added our brand caller ID solution. There's no software integration required whatsoever. And that highlights the branded name, AAA to the customer so that, the customer will answer. So on the core AAA brand, we saw a 42% increase in answer rate. And we actually look also at, are these good calls that are happening? Because we don't just want a higher answer rate. We want to know these are good calls with the right customer. And we actually saw 27% increase in calls over 1 minute. For AAA life insurance, which is one of their products, we saw a 31% increase in answer rate and a 92% increase in calls over 1 minute. So often, there are times where driving a branded call results in a better customer to answer. So even if the answer rate stayed the same, if the customers that are answering are the right ones and you're driving more better calls that are driving better outcomes, that's the result you need. So it's less about driving up answer rate and more about driving up how many good calls you're having with customers. Again, Rebecca is going to demonstrate how you set up branded caller ID in our system and what that looks like.
In this video, I'm going to show you how our branded caller ID solution works. Branded caller ID ensures that when you call your prospects or customers, the name of your brand shows up on their mobile device instead of a number they don't recognize, or worse, a spam label. Branded caller ID drives higher answer rates and higher conversion rates because you're getting the right users on the phone. So let me show you the manager perspective first. This is how you would set up your branded caller ID through Regal. Here you can see all you have to do is add your phone numbers, decide what the name of your branding should look like, And you can even decide if you want to brand in different ways and create different reporting groups so that you can kind of A/B test different branding. Here, you can decide which carriers you want to brand on for which numbers. Now let me show you reporting. We give you carrier level data back on the volume of branded calls by each carrier. You can also see answer rates by carrier and see all of this data cut by the calling number, as well as the branding that you chose. Now let's see what it feels like to receive a branded call as a customer. I'm going to go ahead and place a call to my cell phone from this account. You can see the call is branded from Circle Bank. I'll end the call. As you can see, branded caller ID provides an incredible customer experience that helps your brand stand out from the noise.
So I just want to end today with a quick summary. Regal was built specifically to replace legacy contact center software like NICE and Genesis and Five9 because they were not capable of personalizing outreach across different channels. So if you have a revenue generating motion in your team, or you want to start a revenue generating motion because you want your contact center team to be more than a call center, here's the opportunity to use a new set of tools to drive better engagement with your customers, more conversion, and ultimately results in a better relationship between you and your customer. And this is what customers today expect out of brands. My name is Alex Levin. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Regal. And if you want to reach me, feel free to email me at hello@regal.io or take a look at our website at regal.io. Thank you very much.
If you found the topic interesting and would like to learn more, check out our ebook, Modernizing Outbound Contact Centers, How to Treat a Million Customers Like One in a Million. Just go to regal.io/resources and you'll find it there. And if you'd like to book a meeting with our outbound contact center experts here at Regal, visit regal.io and click on Request a Demo. Thank you so much for watching, and we hope to see you at our future webinars.